Hey guys, good morning. Coach Jen T here. Just a little note on this Friday. Um, as you know, like if you're in this challenge and you're starting to like log your food and macros first and you're getting used to it, just keep in mind, you guys, that perfection is not needed. You will have those days, maybe on a weekend or whatever, or maybe when you go out to dinner and, tracking when you go out to dinner is a little bit harder. Just keep in mind that like you can have those planned untracked days. So for example, if I'm going on like a vacation or a fun weekend with my family and we're going to be out and about, we might not be as perfect or accurate with tracking. You can more focus on tracking per meal. So at least trying to get like a really good protein packed breakfast, getting like a nice balanced lunch in if possible, or if you go out for lunch and you kind of splurge a little bit, just really dial it back in for the dinner time. You're only one meal from getting back on track. So like I've had clients that, say, if you kind of end up having donuts for breakfast or something, you feel like your whole day is like unwound, and that is absolutely not the case. So you don't need to be all in or all out when it comes to tracking, and having those planned untracked days, especially after like a week or two of consistency with tracking, it's okay. Just communicate with your coach. And even if you do skip actually tracking your food and logging, still taking the time to check in, recording like how you feel things went with your nutrition, recording how much you did for hydration and exercise and that kind of stuff, just keeping that consistency with the check-ins regardless of tracking perfectly. I wanted to make that clear as we move into the weekend, because I know weekends typically are harder for some people. And remember back to yesterday when we talked about average calorie balance. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself flexibility during the work week, but also trying to align your actions with your goals on the weekends also, even if it's not as perfect or as rigid as it might be when you have a structured week. Also, one other quick note, this is just a fun little tidbit of information. Keep in mind, as I am an online coach and I work with all of my clients online, like I don't see you in person. So if I run into you in public or out and about, I might have no idea who you are. So feel free to introduce yourself. And I mean, I've had people chit chat with me that know who I am, but I honestly have no idea who they are. And it's kind of funny because I have clients that we work together very deeply. And I mean, I know more about them than a lot of people in their lives. And I don't know exactly what they look like. And so, yeah, just keep that in mind as, we're going out and about and I'm working with a lot of new people. I post videos like this a lot, but like, I don't see you. We chit chat online. Yeah, you might post some before and after in progress photos, but I don't examine them. They just get tucked away confidentially for like yourself when you want to see how much progress you've made in the 12 weeks. So keep that in mind too. And then really quickly, you guys, we're going to dive into food logging tips with a quick MacrosFirst tutorial of things that kind of work for me, work for my clients, and just like a little thing, if you have been using MacrosFirst for a while and you've been in my program, here I'm just going to post like a little bit of more information showing you how to use it and how to keep things super accurate and going well for you. Have a great day. All right, guys, here I just want to give you a super quick MacrosFirst tutorial. It's not going to be anything perfect, but I want you to just see kind of what it looks like if you're not used to it. Up here across the top, you'll see like the dates. So I'm just going to show you what like the 11th is. Let's say you can log your meals how you want, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. If you go to your profile, pretty sweet. I've been logging for 161 days. You don't need to upgrade to premium for this, but you would want to click on the My Goals, and that is where you will adjust your macros to what you want them to be. Everyone's macros are going to be a little different, and that's your total grams of protein, carbs, and fats. What I really like about MacrosFirst is it counts protein, carbs, and fats at the top, telling you how many you have left for the day, and tells you kind of where you're at as your day goes on versus really focusing solely on the calories. You also want to make sure that you are displaying fiber, because fiber is important. It's making sure you're adding plenty of whole foods, and that is where you can adjust that to make sure that you can see the fiber. And sodium's also important to see. So if you are logging in MacrosFirst, you simply click like what meal you want to add to. So let's say for breakfast, I want to add like what I have every morning, my Optimum Nutrition vanilla ice cream protein powder. I just click on it, and then I just click the upper right check mark telling me that I had 1 serving of my protein powder in my coffee. So this tells me basically how many macros I have left for the day. And think of it like a budget. Like your goal is to hit your protein, but you also want to try to remain in your carb and fat goals within, 10 grams or so. And what I really also like about this is, let's say you add let's say for lunch, I have, banana, let's just say 50 grams of weight in banana. I'm just making this up. But what I like is if you find a day where you nail it, you can hit the upper right button and you can copy today's meals to a future day. You can also hit the little meal buttons on the side here and you can copy this meal to another day, and then you can adjust it as you want. If you slide left on the item, it deletes it. And if there's something you have all the time, it always saves it. So as you start using MacrosFirst more often, all of your favorite meals and things you use all the time are going to be at the top. If you are logging, let's say like zucchini, for example, you can see these are the ways that I've logged zucchini in the past. You can do 1 cup, or you can weigh it out in grams, and you can do it either cooked or raw. Different options. You want to make sure you're just being as accurate as you can. Of course, logging with a food scale in grams is most accurate, but sometimes you've got to eyeball. You don't have time to weigh and measure. You're not going to bring your food scale out to dinner typically. So that being said, you can kind of pay attention to that and do your best with logging. Even if you don't have a food scale, you don't have to be super perfect with it all the time. It's really just a way to bring awareness to your intake. And honestly, like sometimes the hardest days are when you should really bring the most awareness. So try to just be consistent with tracking, but you don't have to be perfect. If you click this, let's say a meal really works for you for breakfast and you love it. If you click like the little buttons again, but next to breakfast, you can actually save meal, so that when you go to add something and you click on meals at the top, it's going to save the meals that you have already had on a consistent basis. When you do upload your screenshot to your Just Coach app in the challenge or in the programming that you're in, you want to make sure you see how you can swipe in the blue here. This tells you your total protein, carbs, and fats, and this one tells you how many you have remaining. The screenshot we want is the one that shows you your total against your targets. This is the one that I want to see as your coach as we go about the weeks. Now, again, there may be days that you go way over your calories, and there may be days you go way under. What matters, again, is that you're just simply bringing that awareness. And then if you end up saving meals, you can also just click the bottom middle. And then your profile, again, if you get macro adjustments, you click on My Goals, and you can click on it, and you can update your goals to what your goals are for the upcoming week. You can also, if you want to get really fancy and dialed in, you can do goal meals. So if you take your totals of what you have and you want to divide them out evenly, as I said yesterday in the video, you want to divide your protein out evenly. So if you want to stay on track with protein, you can go to your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks and like make goals for all of your, like if I click on this, I can do, okay, I want this much protein for breakfast, this much for carbs and fats, and have a calorie goal. It calculates your calories automatically, which is pretty awesome when you're trying to do per meal. I go back and forth. I sometimes really like to track my macros per meal because it makes sure by the end of the day I'm not trying to play catch up on my protein. So that's it. I hope this gives you a little teeny tiny reflection into what MacrosFirst looks like. I think that MyFitnessPal is also a great app. I just think MacrosFirst really simplifies things, and they do have checking for accuracy. I know sometimes on MyFitnessPal, random users put in foods and they're not accurate, and I think MacrosFirst is just overall more accurate. If you have any questions, you can certainly send me a message in your app in Just Coach, and I'm happy to answer those questions for you, give you a little more guidance. And as always, you guys, a little bit of planning goes a long way. So if you map out your day, at least roughly, on what you're going to have and have things prepared, it's just going to make it so much easier to make the healthy choice the easy choice. Have a great day. Okay, so I was just previewing my video before I posted it, and I thought about a couple more things that I wanted to share with you guys. So my sodium's a little high on these days, but what I wanted to share also is, as you can see at the top, the little star, that tells me that I was within 100 calories from my calorie goal. So you can see here that on Monday, Tuesday, and my planned Friday, I am at least 100 calories within my calorie goal, and Wednesday and Thursday not so much, but that's okay. Basically, I just wanted you to see that if you are getting that star, it tells you that you are in those calories. You're not always going to be perfect. There are going to be good days, there are going to be more rough days, and that's okay. You're human. But I wanted to share that. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you is, let me see. So for, let's say Wednesday, something really cool, a good feature of MacrosFirst that I forgot to share with you. Let's say, so for example, I need to get 145 protein. I got 149. Carbs, I went over by a lot on this day, but that's okay. But let's say, for example, my old-fashioned oats, let's say I want to get 10 grams of carbs. If I type 10 here, as you can see, I hit done, and it's going to tell me how many grams in weight of old-fashioned oats I would want. Let's say I need a little more fat on this day, which I don't, but let's say I did. I click on the fat for almond butter, and I click 10 because I want a little more, and I need 18 grams in weight. So I really like that. Or if I'm trying to stay on track with calories, let's say I don't want 100 calories worth of almond butter. I want 50 calories worth. Click on that. 8 grams in weight. So it's really fun to play around with those. Again, I love the rule of if it takes you more than 10 seconds to figure it out, don't worry about it. But it is fun to play around with it and do your best to log. Again, you don't need to be perfect. I have planned on track days. I sometimes decide at dinner time I'm not going to track. And with the 12-week challenge, I want to make note that the goal of the 12-week challenge is to get you to develop habits by tracking and bringing awareness and learning how to establish those healthier meals with more protein. And then from that point forward, our goal is to actually wean you off from tracking. You don't need to track every day. I go back and forth. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll take a week or two off. Sometimes I'll take a month off. Sometimes I'll take one random day to track just to see where I'm at. But since I am coaching using MacrosFirst, it's like second nature now to just toss my stuff in, make sure I'm where I'm at for protein to fuel my muscles and keep my metabolism up. So it really is a journey that's up to you. For me personally, it does help me keep my awareness in check of my my intake. So just another little tidbit of information. And if I seem a little out of breath, it's probably because I'm power walking with my dog right now. That is it. Have a great day.